Reggae Just Extra with Ras Dennis.
If I was a top-notch poet like Christoph Kigbo, Derek Walcott, R.T.S. Eliot, I would write a poem so damn deep that it bittersweet.
The marriage of spoken word and musical rhythms in modern black culture was anticipated by, and was to some extent the work of, the radical Jamaican, British poet and recording artist Linton Kwesi Johnson. Known in England primarily as a poet, but in the United States and other countries more as a reggae performer, Johnson in reality had been consistent in his outlook, bringing music to poetry and a mixture of poetic sophistication and political activism to dance music. I always have a bass line at the back of my mind when I write, Johnson told London's Guardian newspaper, and, more often than not, that bass line carried overtones of the violence that brewed beneath the surface of British black life as a result of decades of discriminatory treatment. My name is Ras Dennis, and you are welcome back to another video by Reggae Just Extra.
You are now watching Reggae Just Extra's Linton Kwesi Johnson's edition.
Today's episode is about the life and times of Linton Kwesi Johnson, the second living poet, and the only black poet, to be published in the Penguin Classics series. Kindly stay tuned and do remember to subscribe to this channel, like, share, and most importantly hit the notification bell to be the first to watch our next video.
Brixton Prison, Jeb Avenue, London Southwest 2, England. Dear Mama, good day. I hope that when these few lines reach you, they may find you in the best of health. Mama, I really don't know how to tell you this, cause I did make a solemn promise to take care of little Jim and try my best to look out for him. Mama, I really did try my best, but nonetheless, I'm sorry to tell you, sir, poor little Jim, get a rest. It was the middle of the rush hour, when everybody just a hustle and a bustle to go home for them evening shower. Me and Jim stand up, waiting for a bus, not causing no fuss, when all on a sudden, a police van pull up. Out jump three policemen, the whole of them carrying baton. Them walk straight up to me and Jim.
This poem, Sonny's Letter by Linton Kwesi Johnson, is about a man writing a letter to his mother to inform her about the racist attack on his brother and himself. It simply addresses one aspect of 1970s racism in Britain. It might interest you to know that Linton Kwesi Johnson was born on August 24, 1952 in Chapelton, a market town in Clarendon Parish, Jamaica, and the former parish capital. Other notable reggae artists from this town includes Everton Blender, Toots Hibbert, Barrington Livy, Freddie McGregor, and Coco T.
You are now watching Reggae Just Extra's Linton Kwesi Johnson's edition.
Linton Kwesi Johnson took the middle name Kwesi, a masculine name of Ghanaian origin which means born on Sunday, in the early years of his poetic career. His father was a baker and a sugar plantation hand, and his mother was a house servant who separated from her husband and took off for London. When he was 11, Johnson went to England to join her. Attending school in London's Brixton neighborhood, he faced the same low expectations that plagued other Caribbean-born students in England. His teachers, he told The Guardian, didn't take kindly if they thought you harbored ambitions above your station. Johnson became increasingly aware of the struggles facing black citizens in Brixton during his adolescence, in particular police brutality. He was inspired by W.E.B. Du Bois's book The Souls of Black Folk, 1903. In 1970, he joined the Black Panther movement in Britain, where the youth meetings he attended were a formative period of his life and subsequent politics. This political awakening would inspire Johnson to write poetry and to vocalize the racial injustice he saw around him. He He highlighted the death of demonstrator Blair Peach, who was killed at an anti-fascist march. Some activists believed he died as a result of violence by the Metropolitan Police's Special Patrol Group. Blair Peach was not an Englishman. Him come from New Zealand. Now they kill him and him dead and gone, but his memory lingers on. Lyrics taken from Reggae Fi Peach by Linton Kwesi Johnson. To this day, no officer has been charged with his death. Linton Kwesi Johnson dropped out of high school upon discovering that his girlfriend, Barbara, was pregnant, spending time in a series of low-level clerical jobs, but attending night school and taking college sociology courses when he could. He earned a sociology degree from Goldsmiths College, part of the University of London, in 1973, but the degree didn't help him escape the poverty to which most of Britain's black population was relegated. He found only assembly line work. These experiences, Britain's increasing conservatism, and his own self-made radical education combined to shape his first book of poetry, Voices of the Living and the Dead, 1974, which centered on a long poem that looked toward a future worldwide black revolutionary uprising. He gained a following of like-minded Britons who gathered to hear him read his poetry in small halls and political meetings, and in the process naturally encountered the new Jamaican music sounds that were coalescing under the name of reggae. An integral part of Jamaican music at the time and a key ancestor of American rap and hip-hop was the improvised rhyming carried out by DJs over reggae dance rhythm tracks. Johnson is believed to have coined the term dub to describe this kind of musical poetry, and soon he was making examples of it himself. His first album, Dread Beat and Blood, was released in 1977. It consisted of spoken poems, several dealing with notorious examples of British police brutality, backed by a band led by Johnson's longtime collaborator, guitarist and keyboardist Dennis Boville. Johnson was signed to the Mango label, and he released several more albums that became more and more steeped in reggae rhythms. Incorporated Jamaican dialect and works that evolution affected Johnson's efforts in the realm of spoken and printed poetry as well. Dread Beat and Blood appeared in dual versions in which Johnson experimented with the relationship between text and music, and by the time of his collection 1980 album, Johnson had forged a unique written poetic language based on Jamaican dialect. Inspired both by the efforts of the Barbadian nation language poet Kamau Brathwaite and by classic American black dialect poets such as Paul Laurence Dunbar, Johnson went beyond simply reproducing Jamaican speech to create a whole new set of poetic devices. Neither poetic experimentation nor a measure of popular musical success dulled Johnson's radical impulses, however, and the 1981 outbreak of riots in several British cities, following egregious examples of police misconduct, only intensified them. Johnson turned down a multi-album deal with the successful reggae label Island Records, instead founding his own label, LKJ, in 1981. He hoped, he told The Guardian, to make thinking man's reggae, instead of a pulse from a computer. When not on tour, Johnson worked as the arts editor of the periodical Race Today and produced a 10-part series on Jamaican music for the British Broadcasting Corporation. Years lapsed between recordings. The continuing sharp edge of his poetry showed in 1984's The Eagle and the Bear, which expressed an attitude of equanimity toward a looming USA and Russian nuclear war. Johnson's poetry of the 1990s mixed his trademark political subject matter with more personal reflections, occasioned by his 1994 divorce from his wife Barbara and subsequent relationship with his partner Sharmila Bismohan. By the early 2000s, Johnson had emerged as a classic figure in both the poetic and musical realms. His rare live performances were eagerly devoured by concertgoers, some of whom hadn't even been born when Johnson penned such hard-edged pieces as All We Doin' Is Defendin' and The Great Insurrection. On April 20, 2017, he was awarded an honorary Doctor of Literature by Rhodes University in South Africa. In July 2020, Johnson was awarded the P.E.N. Pinter Prize. Announcing the award, the judges described Linton Kwesi Johnson as the living legend, a poet, reggae icon, academic and campaigner, whose impact on the cultural landscape over the last half-century has been colossal and multi-generational. His political ferocity and his tireless scrutiny of history are truly picturesque, as is the humor with which he pursues them. Receiving the award at a Life Online event hosted by the British Library in October 2020, Johnson named Eritrean poet, songwriter, and journalist Emmanuel Asrat as the International Writer of Courage with whom he would share the prize. Linton Kwesi Johnson is chair of 198 Contemporary Arts and Learning, an art gallery and learning institution in Brixton. Thanks for watching, and do remember to subscribe, give it a like, and post a positive comment in the comment section below, and I'll see you again very soon for another video.
Many thanks for watching Reggae Just Extra with Ras Dennis.